Hello, it is Thursday. I am so glad to be with you today to talk about Jonah. Jonah is one of my favorite Bible stories. You know, he's such a character, and I think the whole story of Jonah speaks to us loud and clear about how patient God is with us. It talks about God's mercy and all those sorts of things, but I think in the way that God deals with Jonah, we see how patient God is. Jonah is such an interesting prophet. Of course, God speaks to Jonah and tells him to go down to Nineveh and be a prophet to the people and to tell them the message that God has given to Jonah. And Jonah, he runs the other way. And of course, we're all familiar with the story then of Jonah being in the boat and being thrown into the water and being in the belly of the fish. And then after all of that, then Jonah decides, well, maybe I will go down to Nineveh. And he gets there and he delivers the message. He does the thing that a prophet does. And the people accept the news. They accept the prophecy and they repent of their ways and they change their ways. And you know, Jonah then is not a very good person. He says he's upset. And he says, I knew that they were going to do this. And he sulks and he pouts and he stomps out of the city and he goes and he sits out in the wilderness and he they just whatever, I went and warned them and they just changed their ways. I don't even understand why he's upset about that. But then God, so patient with Jonah, is going to use this opportunity to teach him a lesson, and he grows. God makes for a bush to grow and cover Jonah with shade, and he sits there in the shade, and Jonah is comforted by the shade. And then the next day, a worm comes and eats up the bush, and Jonah's not in the shade anymore. And then Jonah grumbles and complains about not having the shade anymore, and he's so upset about the bush being gone. And God says, you're so upset about the bush, but shouldn't you also be upset if I had also got rid of all of those poor people in Nineveh? Let's make sure, Jonah, that we have our priorities straight and that we don't think so highly of ourselves and our own comfort and not so highly of other people, because people's lives are worth way more than our own comfort in the shade of this bush. I love just how patient God was through that whole thing with Jonah, but also how he used the opportunity to teach Jonah an object lesson. So let's remember that we too should be patient with each other and watch for those object lessons where God is trying to teach us to be patient. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.